Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Today is March 30th. Today, we're going to look at a different problem, extending this concept of looking at tables, coordinate planes, coordinating coordinate pairs, and kind of looking at how this all kind of looks. Okay, so let's preface and let's talk about a little bit of a story here. Okay, so before we get started, yeah. So let's imagine that we are doing a fundraiser, a fifth grade fundraiser for some reason, and we are cooking food, and we have like a little food stand or something. Okay, we're selling tacos and we're selling burgers. Okay, each taco that we sell, we're going to sell for $2, and each burger that we're going to sell for $5. And what we want to look at is the cost relationship between these two items. Now, obviously, there's lots of different ways we can analyze it, but I just want to look at the straight cost relationship between these items within our question, our scenario, I guess. Okay, so for we have two patterns. We have pattern A and pattern B. Pattern A, we're talking about tacos. Okay, in pattern A, each taco costs $2, right? So as we sell tacos, we sell one taco, we have $2, two tacos, $4, and so on. It's going to follow that pattern of counting by twos, right? Okay. For pattern B, we're selling burgers. Okay, B is for burgers. It's good enough for me. At $5 a pop. So one burger, $5. Two burgers, $10. Three, $15, and so on and so forth. Just counting by. Now again, math isn't that crazy hard, right? Pretty straightforward. Now, what does that look like as far as when we're going to project this out and write this on our table here, right? Well, again, to nobody's surprise, our table looks something like this. Here's pattern A and there's pattern B. Pattern A here, okay, and pattern B. Over here, you see the number of, I should write food here, number of items. Okay, so when one item is sold, of either of these, we can see what it is. So when one item is sold of a taco, we make $2, right? When one item is sold of a burger, we make $5. So, but what I want us to think about is not so much how much money we make altogether or anything like that, but think about the relationship between these two patterns here. So we're looking at more pattern concepts rather than just graphing. We're going to do that too, but really focusing on the pattern concepts here. Okay, so if you can go ahead and follow along here, you can see that I went through A, and I went 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and those follow those patterns. Now, but each one of these here, connecting these, we have our coordinate pairs, don't we? Now, those are the pairs that are connected and the related pairs, right? Okay, so when we sell one item, the 2 and the 5, those are an ordered pair, but those are the related pairs there, right? Okay, so those are related and connect to each other because they're both connecting to selling of one. So now I set up a little table here showing taco costs and burger costs, and as we go, these points are going to go along here because these are my ordered pairs then, right? And hopefully this is getting a lot easier for us and making a lot more sense. It's hard for me. I don't really know. I'm getting feedback from a lot of you, so I don't really know how much sense this is making. I opened up a new, in our Google Classroom. Please log into that, check it out, respond. I have set up a question asking you to reflect on how this is going. How are you doing? What is going well? What is struggle? And even if you're thinking, oh, I'm not struggling very much on this, talk about what is the biggest challenge, even if it's not a huge challenge for you. And likewise, the opposite. If you are really struggling a lot with it and you feel like you're not having any success, find the area that is the easiest for you, or things that you understand the most, even if it's not a lot, but understand the most, and please comment on that. It doesn't have to be a long reflection here, but let's do a little reflection. There's an assignment in Google Classroom. It shouldn't take you very long to go in and do that. If you think about it, again, 3, 4, 5 minutes tops should all it should take. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to this. Okay, so again, and I'm going to connect all this to actually the big picture at the end here, because we're going to talk about the big focus is going to be on this relationship, okay? And so again, I'm looking at 0, 0 sold is going to be 0, 0 in cost, right? If I sell one item of each, I'm going to have, if the relationship is 2, 5, right? Then we have 4, 10. Then we have 6, 15. And then we have 8 and 20. And you can see my consistent growth of my line here as it goes up and through, right? Okay. Okay, it's very consistent. My line is squiggly, but it works. Okay. So the idea is that when we think about this, what is that relationship? What is that relationship between the corresponding terms? Between each of these terms, what relationship is between these numbers? Think about that. So these are my corresponding terms. So if I look at it as 2 and 5, right? What is the relationship between 2 and 5? Well, yeah, it's 3 more, right? Okay, but if I compare the same relationship between 4 and 10, that doesn't follow that same relationship, does it? Okay, because that would be 6 more, not 3 more. So that doesn't really work, does it? Looking at it as far as how much more it is as far as that goes. So let's think about it from a different perspective, okay? How much more is 5 than 2? And let's think about through the lens of multiplication, right? Okay. Well, I know that 2 times something equals 5. Oh, Mr. Smotchus, that doesn't work because 2 doesn't multiply by anything to equal 5. Oh, you're right if you're talking about whole numbers, but we have to think about more than that, don't we? Okay. Well, if we think about 2 times 2, we know 2 times 2 equals 4, right? Well, how do I get from 2 times something else to get me to 5? So I need one more. Well, 2 times what equals 1? Okay. About 2 times a half? Or 2 times 0.5, right? We can write it as 0.5 as well. That's a half, right? 2 times 0.5 is 1, isn't it? So if I could put these concepts together, the relationship here would be 2.5, right? Or 2 and a half. Okay? So the relationship between these two corresponding terms is 2 and a half. Okay? It's 2 and a half. The hamburgers are 2 and a half times the cost of the tacos. Okay? So let's see if that actually holds true for my other corresponding terms. Well, if we look at 4 and 10 here, well, what's 4 times 2 and a half, right? 4 times 2 is 8, and then 4 times a half is going to be, well, half of 4 is 2. 8 plus 2 is 10, right? Works, doesn't it? Let's do 6 and 15. Let's actually look at this up here. Okay, I know that 6 times 2 equals 12, right? Okay, and then 6 times half, or we say half of 6, okay? I'll keep using decimals because that's what we've actually worked with more in class up to this point, okay? All right, half of 6 is 3. When I add these together, they do equal 15, and that was my other corresponding term, right? So the relationship between these is that pattern B is 2 and a half times larger than pattern A. Or the burgers cost 2 and a half times more than the tacos. Okay? So again, we're not just looking at, oh, hey, we're making graphs and grids and stuff like that. It's also about looking at the relationship between the corresponding terms as we kind of get a little more complex as we continue to move forward. So that's the big focus that you're going to be doing as well, is looking at those relationships between the corresponding terms and the relationship between those patterns, right? Okay, so again, if you have any questions, please check out the Google Classroom, please. Because in that Google Classroom is where we're going to be doing a lot of communication. Some students have already checked in and already left comments. Thank you, Christopher, Molly, Dean. At this point, those are the people that have uploaded, not uploaded, but left a comment. Let's start leaving comments in there. Start a conversation with each other. Talk to each other. I mean, you guys need some social time as well, even if it's little stuff like that. Obviously, keep it cordial and appropriate, but have some fun with it, and we need to keep plugging along. Again, if you have questions, let me know. And obviously, with this shutdown, we're going to see how it goes. We'll see how you're progressing. Again, if you are not to this stage in lesson 33 yet, then get to work. I mean, it's been on timing. This would be the week that we'd be actually getting into lesson 33 in class, I guess, if we were following the pacing. So obviously some of you are going to be a little bit behind that pacing, and that's okay too. This particular question is not in your textbook. I made this one up. But that concept is something that by the end of lesson 33, we should be able to do and see these relationships between numbers. Yeah, miss you guys a ton, like I always say, and stay active, communicate, take advantage of all the resources that we do have, and we're trying to provide for you guys. Yeah, take care, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.